There is something that people are not taking into account when they want to manifest the perfect reality. Is that your mind is in duality and the mind of the quantum field is in oneness. So there's a short circuit that happens between your mind in duality, 3D, and the mind of the quantum field in oneness in 5D. They are incompatible. The reality of the 5D state of consciousness cannot enter your mind of duality because they are not vibrating in the same reality. The mind of the quantum field is saying there is only good. And your mind in 3D says, well, what happens when it's bad? The mind of the quantum field says there is only good in health. There's only health. There's no opposition. And your 3D mind in duality says, yes, but what happens after 40? The doctors are saying this about it. The state of this part of health, or blood pressure, or the sugar, or the muscles, or the mind. And there is the neighbor that has your same age and has this chronic health issue. What is going to happen to you? And that is going on in your mind, and everybody's mind. So you see, it is impossible to manifest the oneness of health, money, prosperity, and peace and good when your mind cannot accept that because it's programmed to create from duality, saying there is a limit about the good things. There is a limit about how much money you can make. You make money, then you lose money. So it's not a stable reality of oneness because it fluctuates. That is what duality is, a fluctuation between one side where there is and the other side where there isn't. Because you have money and then you can lose money. You can have health and then health goes away. You have to understand that the quantum field is divine consciousness. It's not just a field of energy. It is divine consciousness manifesting, expressing itself as what it is. Perfect, everything. So there is no opposition to the good. And the mind of 3D is not manifesting divine consciousness because it is in duality. It is in separation from divine consciousness, precisely. It is disconnected from that consciousness. So it's creating a parallel reality of consciousness where there is good and there is no good. There is abundance and there is lack. There are good things and there are limits to good things and access to good things. So that's why people suffer from health, lack of money, marriages or relationships break down and don't work. They don't have inner peace. They have issues mentally or emotionally or professionally. This is the absence of divine consciousness. And then the mind enters into fear because it is in a reality where there are good things and they're opposite to good. And people are suffering and the mind registers that. So there are problems and worries and the mind enters into fear because it lives in this reality that people can be happy and not be happy because of what happens and happens to everyone here. So everybody is experiencing this in this lifetime and other lifetimes, the goodness of things, and then those things going away, and people suffer lack. So it generates fear about what's going to happen if you don't have health, you don't have money, if something happens to the business or the marriage or the health. So what happens if you lose the job? So there is always fear in this duality reality because the lack is always present. But in divine consciousness, in the 5D, this doesn't happen because there is no lack, there is no fear, there is only love, there is only goodness, there is only light. So you have to realize the difference of your state with the state of the quantum field, and then work on yourself to align yourself with the quantum field. You have to reestablish the connection with the quantum field. Everything is happening all the time. In the divine consciousness, there is no lack of anything. There is only everything is abundant. Permanent state of goodness. And this alignment people need to develop is the key to your life shifting and your consciousness shifting. So it's a change of identity, becoming a person who has this perception of reality. This is a person that has a quantum mind and a quantum consciousness to live a quantum life. Unless you do this shift, there is not possible for you to manifest a quantum reality that works all the time. That's why there are so many courses, techniques that talk about manifesting, doing this, doing that, and people are trying everything and it works to a point, but never solve the issue. I align people with the quantum field, taking people step by step from where they are in 3D, in this state of no alignment and separation, to the alignment in 5D consciousness and oneness with the quantum field, with the good, with God. And that implies closing duality in the brain. It's a change of neuroscience. It's the neuroscience, the quantum neuroscience, the neuroscience of the quantum field. And this has to be implemented in people's minds. I say to people all the time, when you stop looking at the light, you believe illusion is real. The light is the oneness, is the quantum field. So you have to be connecting with the light all the time, meditating, opening yourself to the light. Unless you have a good connection with the light, you're going to see illusion. You're going to believe it's real. And then you're going to want to fix it, which is the first problem and the biggest problem of humanity. It's not about fixing illusion. It's about getting out of it and connecting with the quantum field, because people believe illusion is real. And it's not real, so you don't have to fix it. You just want to get out of it by connecting with the level of truth in the 5-dimensional reality. So the key is get out of illusion and start channeling truth, because you are connected with that level of consciousness and light. The other part of it is when you forget who you are, you believe that what happens is real. Who are you? You're God, you're God consciousness. And if you have forgotten that, like most people, then you believe that what goes on in illusion is real, and you get trapped in it, and you create karma, and you have to get out of that. But if you're connected with God consciousness, you know what is happening in illusion is illusion. And if you realize that you are God, nothing bad can happen to you. But when you disconnect from that reality and forget who you are, then you create a different reality. You move into illusion. And that reality is not God reality. You see how it happens? So you need to remember every day who you are. And then through your spiritual work, become one with who you are and embody that state. It's about becoming God again, because that's who you are. It's remembering who you are and remembering the state. And that's going back to the state of God realization. That is what most people are not doing. The masters talked about it many years ago, 1,000 years ago. Jesus talked about it, Buddha talked about it, but people are not doing it. They just meditate 20 minutes one day every week or every month, and they think that's it. So they're not getting to God consciousness or enough light to realize that beyond the light, there is only illusion. So you need to have a connection with energy and vibration, that it is in the state of God consciousness, and you connect with that, and then changes your identity and changes your reality. This is what I've done in myself, and what I've done for people in the last 30 years all over the world. I connect people with a source of high vibration that comes from the quantum field, and that when I connected with that, it shifted my reality. It took me to the state of infinite consciousness and reduced my karma in a short time almost to zero, expanded my aura to a point that clairvoyance saw me and asked me, "What have you done?" I said, "Why?" She said, "Because your aura now is expanded the state of a highly evolved spiritual being." And then she told me, "You only have 5% of karma left," which amazed her, which I achieved that in a very short time, because she saw me 2 years before and I had a lot more karma. And then she said, "Your chakras are completely open." That wasn't the case a short time before that. So she couldn't believe what had happened to me in such a short time, because she doesn't see that in people normally. And she's been doing it for 40 years, seeing people every day. What I did in that time until I saw her again was to connect with this high vibrational energy of grace, of highlight, which shifted completely my aura, my chakras, my energy, and my connection and my karma. My life shifted completely in a very short time. I went from a great state of lack in the material world, that I didn't have a lot of abundance in anything, and I went into a financial abundance, material abundance. I had a new home, I got a new car, but that is not important. The important is the spiritual advancement that I got. And a lot of people were coming to my life looking for light, looking for initiation, looking for connection. So I became a spiritual leader, traveling the world for many years, helping people to get into that experience. And they were getting to that experience. They were telling me the miracles that shifted in their lives soon after that. I can tell you stories one after the other, but that will be in another time. You can also see in my website the videos and the testimonies from them. So I'm taking people constantly in workshops or webinars to this connection, so they move out of the perception of illusion into reality of truth in the quantum field, because it's going back to the state of the quantum field. And what happens in the workshop is that this consciousness of the quantum field comes down and enters into people, because this is the agreement that I came with to help people with this connection in this life. And this happens. There is a team working in the light and they bring it. It happens every time. It's an amazing experience. There's nothing like on this level. It's not a technique that I can tell you here. It's a state of consciousness that happens and enters into people in the workshops, and they become connected forever. And that connection manifests for people. They are full of this light, they're full of grace. They receive this amazing opening, spiritual opening, elevation of their vibration and their consciousness. Their karmas are minimized. And then they have the techniques and the way to connect. In this case, there are techniques to follow up about how to meditate. But it's like, how do you connect after that to keep expanding and moving into this direction? I've seen marriages saved, houses sold that they weren't being sold in year or more time, businesses being reborn that they were almost bankrupt. I've seen miracles in all respects, relationships between mother and daughter that wasn't working for a long time being restored completely without nobody saying anything, like nothing happened. This energy, this connection of God life and energy of high consciousness took the problems away and completely restored. I've seen relationships of work where people were having great problems just enter into sweetness, peace, cooperation, compassion, understanding. It's amazing when you are moved into a field of high vibration, of 5D vibration, and enough light and God consciousness that restores, changes, and shifts everything. I keep doing this work with people, these connections, individual also is something that I do for some people, groups, webinars at a distance, and in presence live with people there. So I leave you here the information, have a look at it to see if something that could work for you and something that you've been looking for. And just take a look, see the testimonies, see the information, see the pictures. There are pictures that I have in the page of the website where there is information about this, where I appear. There's a picture of me with the light. Next to me, there is the light. You can see it. So, that's not like necessary, but it's a good testimony. And it's not manipulated because it was before digital cell phones and cellular phones and all that, because those pictures were taken with real cameras from the past, and that light showed in the film of the photograph. You would see me look very different because it was many years ago, and we all shift and change with time and all that. But the important thing here is that you remember, listen again if you want to the points of this message, because just that is going to change your understanding and the way you approach things. And it might be a point where you actually decide to join us. And I tell you, your life is going to change, because one thing is trying to change with your mind, with your effort, with your understanding, and you can get good advancement, but only get so far. I've been seeing this for many years in thousands of people, and I know people are taking a lot of things, a lot of connections, and good things are happening. And that's, personal development is good. But when you enter into a high connection with the 5D consciousness and beyond, it's a different game, because you don't have to do an effort to change yourself. The state of alignment and grace in that energy, in that connection, is so powerful that it changes you. It knows what to do with you. It's not like, what do I work in me? I do this to change that. And is it going to work? And you see it's working, but it's not working 100%. Well, this energy is God energy. So it knows what to do. It knows what you need. It knows what is going to do for you to change you to become that consciousness that you need to move into. And this higher evolution. Okay, it's enough for now for this message. I will keep talking about it and giving all the messages about all these wonderful connections. But for now, just remember that you've come here to bring out the light you have inside. You need a spark, a divine spark, to ignite that light completely, so that it really shines for you. It changes your life, changes your consciousness, and the life of people and the life around you, which is the mission you have. You're very important on this planet. This is why you're here. And the important part of your presence here is that you become the light you are and start shining. I hope to see you very soon in any of my events. And also, I wait for you in the quantum side of life. Aloha.